Bravest podcast. I'm your host, Tim McCoy. This is a podcast made by firefighters, for firefighters, and people who are interested in the fire service. I have some special friends with me that are near and dear to me. Today, I have our guest, Captain Hamlin, Captain of Rescue 1, the rescue guru here in the department, and I would say in the state. So, before we get into it, Patrick, how are you feeling?
Oh, I am feeling fantastic. I'm very happy to have Carl, and we're glad we're getting a lot of rescue people in to start off this podcast. And also, you got it. What's going on with the cowboy hat? We got Cowboy McCoy in.
Just switching up a little bit. Well, Captain Hamlin, we'll get into it. He's a farmer, He has some livestock, so, I just wanted to dress appropriately. But since you mentioned that, today's shirt of the day, the fire department feature is Goldsboro Fire Department. I got this shirt when I deployed with USAR probably 6 years ago. I forgot what storm it was. But those guys are really solid. Let's stay in their quarters for the week when we were out there deployed. And there's some strong brothers out there. And I decided I was going to rep them today. This is their cancer awareness shirts. That's why it's pink. But just wanted to feature them today. So today, Goldsboro Fire Department, shout out to you. Captain Hamlin, how you feeling?
I'm doing great. Appreciate the invite. I'll kind of throw it out. Long time listener, first time caller, right? I watched the first one, so I was like, yeah. When y'all reached out, I was all in.
Yeah, this is episode 3, right, Patrick? Episode 3?
Yeah, this is our third one. We're going to post episode 2 here pretty soon, but I guess by the time this one's airing, it'll be, episode 3, Carl Hamlin.
So episode 3, yes. We appreciate you coming. Always great to have legends. We've been interviewing legends. Everybody's had time in the game, skin in the game, and they have a lot of experience. So we're gonna jump right into it. First and foremost, just tell us about how you got into the fire department. And just like, where you from? Are you from North Carolina? Where you?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Orange County, just over the Durham County line. My mom worked at Duke for 40 plus years. My dad worked in the gas company in Hillsboro for 40 plus years. And I'm second generation volunteer. So my dad, he was one of the founding members of the volunteer to fire department out there where I still live, Caldwell Fire Department, Northern Orange County, about 15 minutes from here, I think, 15, 20 minutes, depending on which way you drive. Mm-hmm. So, like, I started in the fire service super young. 1980 was when the fire department was organized in 77, I think. They built a fire station. My family donated the land for the fire department up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my grandmother, my granddad donated the property. So they built a firehouse there. The community is really tight out there. So they built a fire station. They started doing training. And I think around 1980, the fire station opened. And I was 4 years old. So,
and your dad was like original member, founding member.
Yep.
You really got
OGs.
You really got skin in the game. Yeah.
So as a kid, like, I remember being able to go to calls with him. If he got a call, we're out on the farm working. He'd be like, "Get in the truck, boy," and we'd take off up to the fire station. As a youngin', I remember all the trucks up there were gas, and they were all straight drive.
I was about to ask, what type of trucks were they? What were they? Mack trucks or?
No, they were GMCs, FMC with a GMC chassis.
Still open cab?
Bench. No open cab, but it was a bench seat. They rode the tailboard.
That's sweet.
And I remember as a kid standing on the bench seat, running the siren, going to calls. Right?
That's awesome. That's sweet, man.
Yeah, so I got the bug really, really early. And then I kind of grew up, I grew up around it. I grew up in the firehouse out there.
How long did your dad stay in the fire service?
So he got diagnosed with cancer in 2010.
Oh, man.
So he was he was extremely active up until 2010.
Oh, so he had he had like 40 years really out there.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Because there was no fire. I mean, there was the closest fire station for us was Hillsboro. And they're like 15 minutes away, 10 miles for our little community was Hillsboro, Hurdle Mills, and Roxboro.
So as a kid, I know you said you got to respond to calls. Did you get to see anything interesting as a kid?
I'm sure I did. I just remember going to fire calls, right? Like, they started a first responder program. They were one of the first in the state on the volunteer side. So I would go on EMS calls with him if we were out and about, but I never got out of the car.
Okay. All right.
But, going to fire calls, I just remember going and seeing house fires. I remember going to training burns, right? Like, they go and do a live fire training. Like, these guys didn't wear air packs, right?
I was about to ask you that.
They did not wear air packs.
Was it like these quarter boots? Like,
I don't remember the 3/4 boots. I do remember they had turnout gear, but like they were fog nozzles, turnout gear, crawling on their bellies.
No air pack,
no air packs. Yeah,
Oh man,
I remember watching my dad. He got burnt one time in a training burn, and he'd come out and his whole face was red. And they were over there, the same way we do. They were over there talking. Oh yeah, we were getting it. I was whipping that nozzle around on the fog, and So I got the bug really, really early.
So I've always said, like, I wonder what it would be like, because that's a different time, it's a different era, man. You had to, like, eat and smoke. We did it when I came through the academy.
Yeah.
That's one thing they made us do is eat smoke.
Yeah, we did too.
I had my academy mate, we went in with our air pack on, and my academy mate, they made us, they asked me a question, I got it right away. They asked him to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And this dude did not know the Pledge of Allegiance. Man, oh my God. I thought I was going to die. So when I got out of there, and the whole point of it was, hey, this is why it's important to have your air pack on. This is what it's going to be like if you run out of air. So make sure you get out. It was a teachable thing. It wasn't them trying to be cruel. It was more of a teacher's lesson of what we can experience. So just knowing what I experienced then, I can't imagine what it was, because that was just like, hey, that wasn't even nothing crazy. Yeah. That was just, hey, I can't imagine what it would be like in that time. I got another taste of it, and I just realized maybe that 70s, 80s won't for me, because Engine 10 had an open cab when I first got here, right before they placed it to that Spartan. Yeah. And I remember riding, it was cold, and I was just like, this is terrible. Like, and it started raining. I was like, I always wanted to ride tailboard, but I never thought about it, like the cold weather aspect of it. That had to suck. Yeah. And I remember some of the guys telling me they used to put the bed cover over them and stuff. Yeah. So that's awesome, and it's amazing that you got to experience that. Now, transitioning from like a young pup to high school, when did you start volunteering? Like, what age did you actually get skin in the game? So
they had started a junior program, so you couldn't get on until you were technically 16. Okay. So in 1992, I think, 91, 92, I got on as a junior, right? And we could do like the stuff that juniors can't do now. Like, we could do everything. We could wear air packs. Only thing that we were restricted, you could not go in a house fire. Okay. Right? You could operate a hose line on the outside. You could do a lot of outside functions. Right. And I had a huge amount of mentors in my volunteer organization. Some of them were career guys in Chapel Hill, in Durham, in Roxborough, but I got on 91, 92, turned 18. When I was in high school, I had a bunch of friends who ended up being City of Durham firefighters, or they went to other places. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do. My dad didn't want me to do it. He wanted me to go to college. He was like, no, I want you to go to college. I want you to get an education. You can do the firefighter thing, right, at home. Right. I want you to go make real money, because he worked hard his whole life.
What type of career? What did he do as a career?
So he was the manager of a gas company. Okay. In Hillsborough. So he'd work 18, 20 hours a day. Okay. Him and my mom both just putting food on the table, allowing me and my sister to have what we needed. That's kind of how I got my start.
So you started at 16, and you were able, like I said, it sounds like y'all were able to do a lot of work. I don't know if juniors can do that much now.
No, they cannot.
I know they can't, still saying you can't go inside a fire, but I don't know if they could take out windows and do stuff like that from the outside.
I don't think they can wear air packs now. I think the state restrictions, I don't think until you're 18 that you can even wear air pack or do any of that stuff now.
And then when you turned 18, like, going to high school, you didn't go to college? Did you go to college? Or did you?
So I did. So me and Shannon Sykes, he just retired from here.
Shout out Shannon Sykes.
Yeah. Shout out to Shannon. Me and him grew up together. Graduated high school together. We went to Durham Tech together. He got hired here a year before me, so he got hired here in '96.
Hold on, was Shannon volunteering too?
Yeah,
He was okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
y'all was at the same department.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
Man,
all right. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was dangerous because when me and him turned 18 up there, boy, it was on.
I can only imagine. Shannon is a handful
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I can't imagine
me
at
and
18.
him on the fire truck together. Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
Oh,
you better
man.
get out.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Stealing nozzles.
Bunch of gangsters out there, man. That's awesome. So you went to college. You briefly went to college, right?
Went to Durham Tech. Yeah,
Okay.
started working on my fire protection program.
So you just knew you were gonna do the fire department.
Yeah,
So you kind of
yeah.
steered your course towards fire protection. And then at what point did you decide I'm gonna apply for? Did you apply for just Durham? Did you apply other places?
No, Durham's the only place. Yeah. So I knew, I was like, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. I was trying to appease my parents, right? I was going to go to college. Right. I applied in '96 when Academy 9. It was, Shannon and you hear all these old heads, right? Oh, we're Academy 9.
Yeah.
Crap.
That's supposed to be the best academy.
Yeah,
that was the best academy you were in?
No, I was in Academy 10.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we were the best, right?
Every academy thinks
Want
they're the
some,
best.
get some. Right? Bad enough, take some. Right? That was our motto.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I applied in '96, didn't get hired. Shannon got hired, and then I reapplied and got hired in '97. So I guess technically we applied in '95 because the academy didn't start till '96. Then I applied in '96 and got hired. We started March of '97.
And that just goes on to say, it's not always the first time.
No,
sometimes take multiple times, and you stuck with it. Now, for you knew Durham was your thing,
Yeah,
right?
I did. Durham's got
just because you just knew people, or
some, and Durham had a reputation, right? And we still had a reputation. We in the state, when you talk to anybody in the state that knows Durham Fire Department, we're an aggressive organization, right? We're extremely aggressive. We've got aggressive people here. All right, we have the backing of our command staff that allows us to do what we can do. A lot of places don't have that, right?
Yeah.
And I knew then. Now, as an older guy, looking back, would I still come here? Yeah, absolutely. Right. But I probably would not have limited myself to just here. Yeah, this was the only place I applied.
So let's see, I kind of got into Durham because. So literally, and this
the
is
first time I met you. First time I met you
was when I first applied at Redwood.
Yep.
It was you and your wife.
Yep.
Chief Hamlin, we was y'all were sitting on the couches. I'll never forget. I came in there and
we weren't married by then. We weren't married. I don't think. When did you get on?
That would have been I would have been at Redwood probably around 05.
Oh yeah, we were married.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like 04, 05ish. But
I got you.
I came by and you. That's the first time I met you and met your wife, and I kind of started there, and that's kind of and. You and your wife are there, and Redwood at the time, and still today, has a ton of city people. Yeah. And that's why when I tell people, when I recruit people, I say, hey, if you start volunteering, that is a good way to network because you meet a lot of people in departments. You kind of get into that thing. And even then, when I was working at Redwood or started volunteering, I met a bunch of city people, and then I was taking classes, and that's one thing that you do. Yeah. You and Rod Sellers. Yeah. Y'all been teaching classes forever.
Not as long as Richard Ray, right? Chief Ray, and Rod. So we all come through the academy together.
Right. Okay.
And Chief Ray and Cap Settlers, they took off really early, right? Teaching. I didn't really pick up until 2005 when I got promoted. When I got promoted captain in 05, it's kind of when I jumped in the game. I felt like I had a little bit of experience that I could share at that point in time, share some experience.
So you were a captain in 05? Yeah,
I got promoted and
so you've been 20 years as a captain on the department. That's special. Now, listen, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I'm going to get back to the Redwoods part and just how the teaching is. But so you started in 97, right?
Yeah.
And you started on, where were you first assigned?
So my very first assignment was Engine 1. So when I come out of the academy, and in 97, so in 97 when I got on, they were building Station 3, the new Station 3. Old Station 3 was still there at Driver and East Main, and it was still occupied. But they were building Station 3. They were building Station 13. So at the time when I got on Engine 1, that was a hazmat station. So you had Engine 1, you had Hazmat 1, Rescue 1, Ladder 1, Battalion 1, and
The big house.
Squad 1, yeah, and Mobile Sport 1. Like, I mean, it was like, I
Cool.
loved coming to work every day. There were so many people in that station.
Wow.
And I'm not a single company station person, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I enjoy multi-company as
yeah,
well.
I love having people around, and like that did it for me. Like I fell in love with Station 1 then, and my career has been all over the place. Like I've been everywhere. I've worked all parts of the city, but like that was like that's where I love that. I was only there. Let's say I come out in late June. Yeah, so
Still 97 when academies were short.
Yeah,
My academy was 4 months. How long was your
It
academy?
was like 18 weeks.
18 weeks? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think so.
Okay.
So super short, and that was all of EMT and all of fire.
So mine.
Yeah.
4 months we covered everything.
Yeah.
So it's really fast paced.
Yeah, and we were quick, and I mean we had a pretty big academy. I think there was 29 of us in our academy. We started with everybody, and we graduated with everybody. So like we didn't have anybody in our academy fell out.
We had 26. I don't think we lost anybody either. Actually, and we had a lot. We had 26. Pretty big academy, and like you said, we didn't lose anybody. It was fast paced. Now it's 8 months, and it's a lot more intense. As far as like what they got to learn as far as EMT because I feel like my EMT was pretty plain and simple. And now I feel like when we do T-SOPs, now I'm like, sheesh, I'm a doctor almost in this job. You feel like you're about to be a doctor in here, man. So after engine, so you were at Engine 1. After Engine 1, where'd you go?
Man, so like I've got a long story. Like we ain't got all day. So I left it. So I left Engine 1. So I was on Engine 1. Let's say I come out at the end of June. Started academy. The only way I can remember that is because we worked like July the 4th, or the day after July the 4th. So I know we were like I worked one day and then we went on 6-day break. And then when I come back to work was like July the 5th, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So I worked there until December, around December of 97. Around August, I think they moved the hazmat team out to 13. And that time my crew, like the hazmat team was all drivers, right? Like and you talking about legends, like these guys. So you had Randy Clements.
Oh yeah,
like, he was
Chief
my
Clements.
captain.
Oh
he was my
yeah.
captain. I had Donnie Hamlet was a driver.
Oh man,
David Jacobs was a driver, and I had Steve Green on the back that was a firefighter. So like my first day at work, we rode 5 people on Engine 1.
Oh man.
And it was like there were so many people we didn't even know what to do, right?
That's wild.
But they had to put an extra air pack in the truck. Like there wasn't even enough.
Very different than today.
Oh yeah.
Very different today.
But we also only got 2 engines, a ladder, a rescue, and 1 chief on every structure fire.
Captain Hamlin was talking about that. He talked about that like it was a smaller complement of people.
Yeah.
And so you did like you were pretty much doing everything.
Yeah,
Because everything. Because all the drivers pretty much tied up doing the driver stuff, and then you just had the captains were usually outside mitigating and then so the firefighters are really ones left putting in the work and I was telling them like I've heard from older cats saying, hey man, like you better put it out. Like it was shameful to call for help.
Oh yeah, you weren't like the Chiefs were not going to call a second alarm. Like, you weren't going to get. I'm telling you, my first day at work, we had like 2 pedestrians struck right there, little 5 points right there, down from the station. So my first day at work, I made the newspaper.
What?
Right?
For what?
Because at that time, right, newspaper was a big thing. Well, Julian was going around. He was taking pictures.
Julian was back there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
So the next morning, you get up as a rookie. You go get the newspaper off the front page. You make coffee. You do all these things. So throw the paper up on the table. Like, I don't look at it. I'm a rookie. So all the the captains are going to be the first ones who look through the newspaper. And there we are on the front page. And so my first day at work, I got to buy ice cream or steaks for everybody the next day.
Of course, the tradition.
But we're on 6-day break, right? So I kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
So then my second day at work, which was actually my first work period, my first full work period, we called a fire like 7:30, 8 o'clock that morning, right down on Dallas Street. And I'll never forget. So Captain Clements was off. So David Jacobs was riding the seat. Donnie Hamlin was driving, and then it was me and Steve Green in the back. And I mean, I'm really green, right? Even with I had 5 years of volunteer service before I come on. Like I still felt green as a career person. And we pull out of the station, and Steve Green looks over at me. And he said, "Son, you better hurry up and get dressed." And like we hung a left.
You see smoke column?
Oh yeah, we hung a left at the station. As soon as we hung a left, you can see the column. And I mean that's 4 blocks from the station. So like I'm back here.
Was it fully involved or
No,
was
so it was a 2-story duplex. The whole second floor was on fire, and when we pull up, like literally we're pulling up. So this was the old top mount. I don't know if you remember. It was the top mount. It was the one that went to 13. It was a top mount pump or pump panel. As we're coming down Dow Street, like as soon as you hang a right on Dow off Roxborough, it's like 4 houses down. The house is still there. There is no second floor there because they ended up tearing it off and redoing it. But as soon as we hang a right on Dow, like you can see just flames blowing out the second floor window. Sheesh. This is my second day at work, and I'm like,
sheesh,
man, I love this.
Yeah.
The truck, Donnie stops the truck, and like I don't know what happened, but it's like when my eyes opened up, Steve was gone. Well, when I got off the truck, Steve Green had already stretched the line down Dow Street, and he was coming back up to the house. And as he was coming back up, he said, "Here, kid," and he handed me the nozzle, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is the best. But yeah.
That's interesting because you mentioned that. Like, I know all these guys you named, right? Chief Clements, obviously, is chief at Redwood. That's where I started off at. He's still chief there now. He always tells me about the war stories and how they were manly men back in the day. He talks about that. Then you have Captain Hamlin, who they mixed up with you in a cartoon, a grim cartoon.
The whole cartoon thing. Yeah.
Which was hilarious. But so Captain Hamlin, I worked with his son Travis on Rescue One, and I knew Travis when he first came out. But one thing interesting about him and Steve Green, like you see, when I became on the department and as I grew older, like they were in the relaxed mode, chill mode, right?
Yeah. They were retirement.
So I never knew them in their glory days, right? So my initial perception of them was like, man, they ain't no go-getters, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I had a fire in Treyburn. It was a working fire, huge house.
Yeah.
Burning his tail off, and 15 out there on the island by themselves. So they're right there at Treyburn. They get there, and they're there. And I'm on Squad 7 roving. I done roved out Squad 7. So we get there pretty fast, right? So
speed limit, right?
Yeah, speed, of course. It's engine 15, and we pull up second, and like this house is burning. The roof is burning through, right? And all I see is JD. And who was on the back? I can't remember who his driver or firefighter was. There's 2 older guys. But they are in this house by themselves going to get it. And that kind of changed my perception. I tell Travis, I was like, I doubted your dad for a while just because he was always at a slow station. Since I've been out, he's been at slow stations. So, typically guys that go to slow stations usually go there to chill and wind down. I wasn't thinking about like the years that he was on
he was on the rescue truck. Right? He was on the rescue truck.
This is a certified go-getter, but that day opened my eyes to be like, hey, these guys, they still got
sleepers.
it.
They
sleeping giants. He was out there getting it, so I was very surprised. And you mentioned Julian, man. I miss Julian. We lost him. He's still alive, I believe. But we lost him during COVID. But Julian was always on the spot. I didn't know he was.
Well, social media also kind of hurt, right? I mean, that was his income.
Yeah, because he did a lot of news, got a lot of pictures for the news,
that's
right?
That's how he made his money.
But Julian was always, whenever you needed pictures, he got a ton of pictures of you guys. I know those golden years, like all the pictures you used to see on Angel Fire and stuff. Julian produced a lot of pictures, man. I wish we still had Julian today because he was sometimes he'd be trucks there. I'm how does Julian here, man?
I have been to a lot of extrications and a lot of fires and we always joke. So Captain Boone, I know y'all just did his podcast, right? But Captain Boone lived here in the city. He lived right down Hudson Avenue. Like he was like a magnet. Like we would pull up. I'd be on shift. We'd pull up. Like we pulled up to a wreck one day at the freeway in 501, and we pull up on engine 5, and like we're the extrication unit because the rescue was out. And I look, well, Captain Boone is in the car, and Julian's taking pictures before the fire truck even gets there. And Sean's like, hey, man, I was just driving around the corner and run up on this. And I'm like, what? Man, how do you do it? But, yeah, I mean, same thing. Julian would always be there. He'd be there. And his website's actually still up if you just Google him.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of, I mean, they're all older pictures, right? But, yeah.
He was everywhere. Gunshots, all types of whatever it was, he was there.
Yep.
All type of things, man. Julian was the man photographer. That's awesome. So you left one.
Yeah, so I left one. I went to two. I went to Engine 2. Chief Baker, not Brian Baker, but Brian Baker's dad. He was a captain then. So Captain Baker, Captain Randy Baker was my captain. He was there at the time I went to 2. They didn't have a driver. So Ken Smart, Kenny Wong, Joel Gully was there, and then there's myself. So between Joel and Ken, they were alternating relief drivers back and forth. So it was us 4. Billy Williams ended up leaving 11, I believe, and come to 2. So Billy Williams was our assigned driver, and I was at 2. I was at 2 for maybe 2 years, probably. Yeah, a year and a half, more likely.
They had the engine and ladder there?
Yeah.
Now, at one point, 2 had 2 engines. Was that was before that?
Yeah, so that was before me, yeah. Okay. Engine 5 run out of there for a little while, just when they were redoing the station. But yeah, when I was there, it was just engine 2, ladder 2, and then the safety officer would run out of there also when they weren't out here in training. Now,
did you... First of all, shout out to Kenny Wong.
Oh yeah,
and Billy Smith. All the. And you talk about
all right, mentors, right? These are guys that I grew up under, right? Like the Randy Bakers, the Cap Clemenses, and I mean, you. So I'm going to back up. So you were talking about the Giants, right? So I'll go back to when I was in school. So when me and Shannon was in school, we were taking a chemistry hazmat class, right? So we weren't on the fire department then. We were thinking about the fire department, but we weren't on the fire department then. So David Young, DY, was in class with us, and I think Bobby Boning was in class with us too. Again, shout outs. But the hazmat was at Station 1, so they were like, hey, look, one night, let's go to Station 1. Let's look over the hazmat truck as a class. So they got all that worked out. So we was like, all right, so me and Shannon, we're gonna go downtown Durham, right? Like this is in 95 probably, and we're like, man, we're gonna go downtown Durham. We're gonna be big city, and like we're coming downtown, and like in 95 downtown was not what downtown is today, and you're like, man, this is some kind of sketchy area. Hey, and so like
that's when I moved here in 95.
Yeah. So like there's no GPS, right? You ain't got a phone, so like you had to pull up the old MapQuest on the computer, print out the map, and look at that. Well, me and Shannon is driving around downtown, and you talking about 2 country boys, right? They ain't never been downtown anywhere, and we're driving around, and we can see the fire station, and man, we were literally driving around it, like we didn't know how to get to it. Right, so like we're coming down because I think I don't even remember how we got down there. Oh, we come down Mangum Street.
Trying to figure out how to get to Cleveland Street.
Yeah. It's like we're driving around the station like 3 times. We're like, how do we even get to it? So then we park there and we go in, and like those guys were the Giants. Like you think back on the old school fire department, like and I was a young kid, like I was 19, 20 years old. Like these guys, like you look up to them, you're like, okay. I mean, Captain Clements,
John Renner.
Yeah, John Renner.
They're all big,
the Shazos up there, right? Like, and you're like, man, these guys right here are like they're very intimidating, right? Extremely intimidating. Super nice. And like when we walked in the station, and everybody's retired now, so I can talk about this. We walked in the station. I'm pretty sure it's John Renner. I may be wrong. But they had a deer hanging in the boiler room. So in there where we wash our clothes now, right? They had a deer hanging in there that they had skinned. That's either I'm pretty sure somebody had killed at their house and brought in. And they were in there gutting it and cleaning it in the firehouse. And I'm like, man, what? Like,
we didn't have those city policies back then, But it was still kind of common practice when I came on because we had a taxidermist on our department. Fire department, you got people that do all type of stuff, right? Like everybody has a part-time job or a part-time hustle.
Yeah,
Mike Wren did taxidermy. And I remember the first time I rode until 11. He had he was over here putting a deer together. I was like, well, what is going on? Like, what is this, man? It was awesome. So that is very, I can just imagine. I hear stories, like you said, you had all the big guys, the Renners, the Clements. Don DeShazo was my captain for 10 years. So I got a lot of stories from him. And it used to be a running joke. Like, it was like you had to be at least 6 feet to be on a ladder truck. Because the ladder, the ladder racks. It was just a joke he made, but it was. I found out it was true. Like it's not so much now. Like but it was and the ladders were heavier. There's been some innovation. And
we carry big ladders. Like when I got on, we were still carrying 40 and 50 footers on the ladder trucks. Right?
Really?
Now they were low. Like we didn't have the rescue side compartments like we do now. There was ladders. There were ground ladders on both sides of the truck. The compartments were super low. The big ladders were on the bottom. The small ladders were up top. Right. So but we carried a pretty hefty complement of ground ladders back then, and we kind of got away from it, and we're bringing it back. Right, organizations now bringing it back, which I love to see.
Would you headed up a lot of that just being on the ladder committee, right?
No, I mean I was involved. I did not head up any of it, but I was involved as a group. Right, the group was like, hey, we've got to look at what are we carrying. Why are we carrying what we carrying, and then what should we be carrying for future needs of the organization?
Yeah, well, it's all a team effort. Yeah. But as long as I've been on the fire department, you have always been the ladder guy. And you've been talking about you started on the engine. When did that transition happen for you, where you got the love for the ladder company?
It was more. I think it was more a love for the rescue side. Like I fell in love with the rescue side really early. And again, it was a lot because of my volunteer department, but the mentors I had here, when I went to Station 1, you had George Odell, right? You had Captain Odell, you had Glenn Mincy, right? You had Creed Moore, Greg McGee, like that was the rescue truck. And like when you look, like Greg McGee and Mincy, like they were two huge men. And then you have Captain Odell, who his stature is big, but his height is not so much, right?
Yeah, right.
But like that was the truck. Courier was also assigned. Dan Courier was also assigned.
Former chief.
Who actually went along, went up and became our fire chief here.
Yeah.
But he was assigned to the rescue also. And then like those were the guys. So when I was at 1, I was able to kind of do a little bit of training with it. Like they weren't huge, and it was just the way the organization worked at the time. Like if you were new, you better know your role. But I got the opportunity to kind of get my hands on some of the rescue stuff, and I fell in love really, really early. I went to 2. I was assigned on Engine 2 until my wife, who I was not married to at the time, she got on she got on in '98, so she got on a year after I did. We did not like each other when she come out. I was young and stupid, and I had the way I thought, and it was not right back then as far as females in the organization, right? Yeah. So she come on. She essentially kicked me off my truck. So she got assigned to Engine 2. They bumped me to the ladder.
Got to make way for the new person.
Yeah. And then, right, so then we had 4 ladder companies in the city. So you had Ladder 1, Ladder 2, Ladder 11, Ladder 12. With the exception of Ladder 1, the other 3 ladder trucks were not they were not operated as truck companies, right?
Really?
Yeah. Ladder 1 was that was like when those guys showed up, like that was the go-getters. They're going to cut holes. They're going to do searches. They're going to, Ladder 2, like we had a running joke when I was on Ladder 2, like they call us the fanboys, or the hydrant getters. Now, again, so you had 2 engines in 1 ladder. A lot of times, if it was a multi-company house, the ladder laid the hydrant in for the engine. So like at Station 1, my very first fire, Ladder 1 laid the hydrant in for Engine 1.
Wow, that's very different.
Yeah, way different the way we operate now, wow. Which is a great thing. But like, so we would lay the hydrant in for Engine 2, and most times they would go in and put the fires out, and then we had to bring the fan up. and blow the smoke out, right? Yeah, it was horrible. So like the last place I wanted to go was to a ladder truck. I did not want to go to a ladder truck. Had no desire to be on a ladder truck. And then our ladder companies only did ladder stuff. They didn't carry extrication tools. They didn't carry rope stuff. Like it was strictly a ladder company.
So who did the extrication?
So then it was Rescue 1, and then the second unit was Engine 5. So the TRT team was, they started working on it in 95. It went to fruitation in 96. So in 96, they implemented Engine 5. So Engine 5 was like a second rescue, but they were engine company. So there were only two hearse tools in the whole city. The city was not as big then, right? Because we had all the volunteer departments around that covered. You had Redwood, you had Lebanon, Parkwood, Bethesda. Yeah, so you had all these organizations that were providing coverage in. But the rescue truck was the main. It was the main extrication unit. They did rope stuff, extrication stuff, and then they did. And then Engine 5 was the second unit. So with Engine 5 being the second unit, we also, or they also carried hearse equipment and rope equipment. So the first, if there was an extrication anywhere in the city, the rescue went. If the rescue was tied up.
I say, because didn't they run EMS calls? Where did they
rescue?
Yeah.
Not when I got on.
Not when you got on.
Not
okay.
when I got on.
Okay.
That was,
initially.
You had to be EMT and you had to be hazmat to get to the rescue, but they did not run, EMS calls. They run fire alarms for the whole city. Like it was nothing. Those guys run 25, 30 calls a day.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. So Engine 5 was the second extrication unit. So if the rescue was tied up, 5 would go. If it was in 5's district, the rescue would still come, but you would just have 2 extrication units there. Yeah.
So you fell in love with the rescue side of things.
I fell in love with the rescue. I was on ladder 2 for a little while. In 99, I'm pretty sure. Chief Christian, who was our battalion chief at the time, I loved the man to death. He said, "Hey, I have an opportunity. There's an opening at 5. Would you like to go?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I jumped on that to be part of the TRT team. Jumped on that, and again, we did a lot of training with the rescue truck, with Mincy, with Cap Modell, with Cree Moore, and then so Engine 5 at that time was Captain Pascal, Terry Pascal was our captain. Captain Charles Sanford was our driver, but he wasn't ever there because he's always acting somewhere.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting promoted to captain. And then there was 3 of us on the back. So it was Brad Grissom, Shannon Sykes, and myself.
Wow.
So all 3 of us are 22 years old. And
country boys.
Captain Pascal was by himself. Yeah. And like that was probably, it wasn't my best time in the department, but that was really, really high up there. We had such a ball down there, as far as training, as far as just having good station life. And I mean, we were a single company house. Yeah. T2, the lumber truck was out of Station 5. So it was us and the lumber truck. And we rode 4 almost every day.
I can imagine it's a ball, especially, I mean, culture is a little bit different now, just not just in the fire department, in society. Now you got the phones, entertain, like people are in it. Table talks are a little bit different now. Like before, you really used to just really.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that.
Used to just hang out and enjoy each other and just talk, solve the world problems, as I like to say.
Yeah, and had a good time.
There's
things we can't talk about on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a great time.
It's a lot of antics and things that went on, but that's an interesting crew. All you young guns on the back, and Engine 5 was a good truck back then. So
and like we all rotated through driving too. So like one of us would drive one cycle, the next would drive the other side. Because you figured the rescue truck, with the exception of the captain, had 3 drivers on it. Engine 5, with the exception of the captain, had 3 drivers on it, and all 3 of us were in the active driver slot.
Like, they didn't have no firefighters, right?
Yeah, no firefighters.
Because I mean, when I first came out, I went to Engine 7.
Yeah.
I started off at ladder 2, and then I moved to Engine 7 once I got my USAR, because that was a USAR truck. And we had a captain and 2 drivers and a firefighter, which absolutely sucked in the aspect of. I was a rookie for like 4 years straight, man. Because I had Kelly Mack, had Russell Hayes.
Yeah.
At one point, I had Brian Perry as well, man.
Yeah.
And like
Captain Shazo.
all the toys, Captain Shazo was his captain.
Yeah.
All the toys that need to be clean. I remember it was
yeah.
me. Brian Baker was on the other shift. He was with Chief Parker now.
Yeah.
And then you had Captain Maurer. He was I forgot who his captain was.
It was Captain Cole.
Chief Cole. Chief Cole.
Chief Cole.
Yeah, was captain then, but so but we were
David Mangum,
we were all the firefighters, and we were all stuck like doing rookie duties for like 4 years straight. And I actually got my first rookie. It was Corey Miller, Captain Miller. He was I was so excited. I was like, finally, finally. And Chief Holder was actually. He actually was, me and him were in the acting driver, well, he had just got promoted. I was in the acting driver spot, and that's how Corey ended up being our firefighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I say that to say, you said they had 3 drivers on the truck. That was like I mean, it's still common today, because 13 has 2 drivers.
Yeah, 13's the only one that's to get.
And ladder 2 has 2 drivers.
Well, so ladder 2, engine 3, and 13
have 2 drivers. So that's the thing. So, again, like you are known again for your ladder, your teaching, being on a ladder company, and now you're rescue boss and the rescue guru.
Right.
What was your first ladder assignment?
So Quint 7. At the time, it was engine 7, right? Mm-hmm. So when I got promoted to driver in 2001. And I went to 7. So my official first ladder was ladder 2.
Okay.
So I went to ladder 2. 99, I went to engine 5. I stayed at engine 5 for a little while. I ended up going to engine 11. Ended up going back to 2. Like I've been all over the city. Like I think I've counted up one time. I think I've been transferred. I don't know if it's good or bad. I think I've been transferred like 16 or 17 times in my little over 28 years of career. But they were all pretty, I mean, 2 years here, a year and a half there, 6 months there. But yeah, so I've kind of, my first, when I feel like I really got my feet wet was when I went to 7 as a driver. We just got to Quint. The Quint had come in 2000. They had just moved, so they moved the TRT engine 5 team from 5 to 9, and it was only at old 9 for maybe 6 months, and then ended up going to 7, and that's when they put the Quint in service, was in 2000. And then I went up there. I got promoted in 2001, and I spent my whole driver career, my 4 years of a driver at 7.
And then in 05, you promoted to captain. Where did you get assigned?
I went to ladder 11.
Ladder 11.
Yep. So I was at ladder 11 until...
And Captain Shazo was your driver then, right?
No, my driver was Scott Rapplier.
Scott Rapplier.
Yeah, I had an awesome crew out there then too. Like, your crew makes everything, right?
It does,
so, like,
it does.
I was not pleased. I did not want to go to ladder 11 because it was a slow ladder company, right? I was a young captain. I think I was 28 years old, maybe 27, 28 when I got promoted captain. I thought I knew everything. I didn't know anything when you look back on it now, but I was like, man, I don't want to go to ladder 11. I want to go to ladder 1. That's where I want to be. I want to be on ladder 1. And because we didn't have a rescue truck, right? The ladder companies in 2000, when the rescue truck was disbanded, the ladder companies took over all the extrication stuff. But I had an awesome crew. I had Scott Rapplier was my driver. I had Josh Sloan ended up coming over. He was on the engine, and he saw how much fun we had. He ended up coming over. And then I had 2 other guys. Now,
because I don't know if it was. I know you at one point you were at 16, right?
Yeah. So
it's slow. So I was at 11 from 2005 2006. They started building 16 in 05. When they opened 16, they said, "Hey, we're going to make this a USAR station." So everybody on my crew had was part of the USAR team. So I took Josh, I took Rapp, and myself, and then Steve Dolan come over. And I don't remember where Steve was actually at, but he ended up coming out there with us. Didn't Cap Maurer come over to 16? Was he at 16 with you?
No. When Cap Maurer got on the fire department, I was on ladder 1, and he was a rookie for me.
Okay, so, all right. It comes full circle.
Yeah,
it's crazy because again, like I said, I know you worked with.
Well, I think the other thing is if you've been a company officer for so long, right? Like you want to see your people promote, and you want to like my crew right now. Every one of my guys on my crew could promote right now, and they don't. I don't know why they want to hang out with me. I know it's the truck, right? I mean, we have the best ride in the city. But like all my guys are eligible for promotion, and I tell them all the time, y'all need to go get promoted.
Well, people stay the good leaders, though.
Yeah, I guess some, right? I mean, like I said, I don't have to lead though, right? And that's the thing is, I like my crew does it. Like they make my job super easy. But, so I went to 16 in 06. I was out there a year, and then my opportunity come to go to Ladder 1. Chief Reams, Thelbert Reams, who ended up being our assistant chief. He was battalion 1 at the time. The captain who was on Ladder 1 wanted to leave, and I'd already put in like 3 transfer requests from the time I got promoted in 05 till 2006. I'd put in 3, and they were like, stop putting them in. If an opportunity comes up, we'll look at it then. So they moved the captain out. I had the opportunity, so I went to Ladder 1 in 07.
So first of all, multiple things I want to touch on here. Shout out to Chief Reams.
Yeah, Chief Reams, man, I love that man.
He's
that man,
really
again,
great guy.
He gave
legend
me,
as well.
He gave me the opportunity, right? Like, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, and without these people in front of me, I would not be where I am today.
And he was a training captain for a long time.
He was.
Right?
He was my training captain.
You hear all the stories.
Oh yeah,
I hear
they're all true. They're all true.
I can't talk about it.
Nope, can't talk about it.
You hear a lot of stories, man. This man's an absolute legend.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, because you said you're at 16. I know you're at 16. Were you at 16 when the controversy came out with the Potomac?
I was.
Potomac?
Yeah. I was
now, that wasn't your shift. I know that wasn't
not,
your shift.
but I can tell you, my shift tried to convince us to do the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, come on, we're going to one-up them, Captain. And I was like, no, this does not seem right. No, and I'm glad we didn't, because we'd probably all be in trouble.
For those that are lost, allegedly,
I have not seen any pictures.
There's
no proof.
Allegedly, there's a picture of a crew.
Was
a picture of a crew that this was the USAR station.
Yep.
We had Zodiacs there.
Yeah, we had a boat. We didn't have a trailer.
No
trailer. The boat sit on the ground. I'm not lying.
Hey, that's typical. That's typical. Sometimes put the cart before the horse. But we had a boat, and they just wanted to. They were doing some training, and during training, they remade the photo of the Washington on the Potomac.
Yeah, crossing the Potomac.
Just imagine the Potomac and firefighters remaking that. I'm gonna leave it at that. But that was the controversy. But that was. I remember coming out. That was a big controversy, and I know. That was floating around for a while. Just that photo, alleged photo. But also, you talked about. So you were at 16, and that was USAR. Again, it taps into your. When you're on USAR. Did you have any interesting calls when you were in USAR?
So we got deployed to Clayton. We had
was it a barbecue place?
I don't know. It might have been. It was a plane in the building.
Yeah, I think I think it might have been McCall's. I might be mistaken.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
I think it was McCall's.
Right. And the only reason I remember that is I was flipping through old pictures the other day and I run across them.
Okay.
We got deployed. They called us up and said, "Hey, I need y'all to go to Clayton." We jumped on at the time. It was It was our international. It used to be Engine 8.
That truck sucked.
I mean, the good thing with 16 being part of USAR is right there at 40. So we could hit 40 and we just took off. And we drove all the way to Clayton, and we ended up going to staging, and we ended up assisting with going inside and recovering remains. But yeah, the individual, I guess, lost power. Anyway, took out the whole front of the building of the restaurant.
I remember seeing that on the news, and I remember seeing pictures of it.
Yeah.
And I actually like McCall's. They have one in Goldsboro. Shout out to Goldsboro. That's where my wife sees from. So I went there, and then I just remember that whole incident with the plane.
Yeah.
So going
we were riding 4 that day. It's amazing.
Which is wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Because I remember being on 7, we rode 4 a lot too as well. Yeah. Now with everything going on, staffing becomes an issue at times. But Durham, that's what Durham do. We make things work, things happen.
We've always done it.
Always done it. Shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We're not complainers. Now
I think that's one of the things that makes us great is we're presenting a problem, and we're going to figure it out one way or the other, right? And we're going to mitigate the issue. We're going to figure it out. And is it the best? No, it's not the best. Could it be better? Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do could be better, but we make it work.
See, and that's some of that Durham. I always tell people like Durham has a grit, a swagger. Like, and we when I came on, we didn't have the best equipment.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't. We had, like I said, we had old trucks still.
Yeah.
Things are a lot better now.
Yeah.
But what made Durham, like you said, Durham is that we always made it happen.
Yeah.
There's always a way that we made the problem. We made it work. We solved it. We got the job done. We saved a lot of slabs and buildings, and that's with just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like I just imagine if we were where we should be right now, it would be crazy. But we always had that great reputation.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we do.
So talking about great reputations on ladder one, I say great reputation.
Years. 5 years on ladder one.
5 years, but you one of the ladder kings. That was the whole thing.
That
Ladder
was the
Queen.
thing. Yeah, okay.
And you know, we talk about ladder one, not, and I know you talk about Captain Odell and Gray Holloman was his driver for a long time.
Yeah.
Ladder two, ladder one always had like a
east side west. It was an east side
a
west
verse,
side.
yeah,
So when I
always
got on,
in
there was only
competition.
2 battalions, right?
Yeah.
So you had east side, west side. West side was like station 2, 11, 10, 7, right? And then you had the east side. The east side was like 5 was in battalion 2 too, but like the east side was 1, 3, 4. Like the east side went to fires all the time, and even when I got on, like Gray, right? Gray's been around a long time. Gray seen like he was in Captain Boone. Those guys were here like late 80s, early 90s. They saw a bunch of fire. I think I saw some fire right when I was pretty early in my career. But yeah, like I don't know. That was the thing.
It was always like this. Yeah, ladder one, ladder two, ladder 12, ladder 11. They always got left out of like for some reason. But ladder one, ladder two were always at it, right? Like they always had this little competition between each other. I remember Gray and like I said, Captain Odell. I remember Captain Towner and Doug Sasser being his driver. I remember certain crews, Captain Boone, Todd. But I also remember, and this is what I was telling Captain Boone when he was up here. I said, man, I couldn't stand Battalion 1 units. One, I just feel like y'all were arrogant.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all had the experience.
Yeah,
y'all
we
went to
were.
the fires. Y'all were arrogant.
It wasn't great. I mean, again, but yeah, you're exactly right.
But, and it's funny because I ended up in Battalion 1, and I said, well, you just it just happens, right?
Yeah.
You go to the fires, you train really hard, and you kind of naturally get that arrogance. But what I really didn't like about Battalion 1 was always like the battalion chiefs in Battalion 1 because they were always seemed to be the jerks. To say like they were all, not that they were bad people. Like personally, I love Scott Roberts. You know? Love Asia.
Which one? You had
Bill.
Oh yeah. Chief Atkins.
Chief Atkins.
Yeah.
I love him, and then I can't remember who was the other battalion chief at one at the time. But
so on C shift, we had multiple battalions on. On B shift because Scott Roberts was on C shift, so I was on B shift then.
So who's your chief?
So we had Chief Bunnell was our chief for a little while. Then Elston went into an acting slot. Then Teresa went into an acting slot, and then Chief Baker ended up being our battalion, and he retired out of that battalion. Chief Reams was when I first went up there. Chief Reams was my battalion chief before he come out here.
But Battalion 1 always ran things. They were like the division chief at the time, right?
Yeah.
And which sucked because when it came to a fire on the west side, Battalion 1 will always look out for Battalion 1 units.
Yeah.
So even if it's a fire in 2's district,
you gotta look out for
Engine 1 would be pulling the line. They get the primary attack line. Ladder 1 would get ventilation. I was like, bro, like what's going on? And I got assigned to ladder 2 coming out. So I'm like, and it used to grind my gears. So I'm like, I just be like, Chief, fight for us, man. What are we doing here? And it just used to grind my gears. I couldn't stand. I had a hate for Battalion 1 for a long time. So, but I say to say you were a ladder king. You went to a lot of jobs, a lot of work in ladder 1. You did a lot of teaching. You touched a lot of people here in the department because you taught them a lot of stuff. I remember when I came out, it was you, Captain Ray, Rod Sillers. Y'all were pretty much the major teachers. Like y'all did a lot of teaching. So, but from ladder 1, right? You were there, and then you left ladder 1. Did you Did you come out training?
No, so I was on ladder 1 for 5 years in 2012. So in June, I think it was around June or July 2012. No, it was actually October 2012. They moved all the ladder trucks. They did a reshuffling. So ladder 11, they disbanded ladder 11. They moved it to 6. They moved ladder 1 down to 3.
3, that's right.
And then so I went to 3. I was at 3 from August to October, running on ladder 3, and I got transferred out. And I ended up getting transferred out to Quint 11 at the time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Now, with ladder 1, in regards to ladder 1,
and it wasn't because I wanted transferred out.
Yeah. In regards to ladder 1, like without giving any giving too much detail that gives away certain locations or specific people. So if it was a little kid, if it was a 4-year-old, don't say a 4-year-old, say a toddler or whatever the case may be. What's like the most memorable call or something, like some calls that stand out on ladder 1? Because you had a lot of time on ladder 1. Ladder 1 ran a lot of work.
I mean, you can look at this like in the fire service. I think we look at it differently than the general public. I feel pretty, I guess, honored, privileged, lucky. I think lucky is probably more than anything. When I was on ladder 1, I was involved. With the exception of, so when I was at 16, we ended up making 2 grabs at 16 when I was out there. But on ladder 1, I think I was involved in maybe 4 grabs in my 5 years that I was on ladder 1. So, that's like, there's a lot of people work 30 years in an organization and never have an opportunity to be able to remove somebody, save somebody's life, or at least give them the opportunity, right? Give the doctors the opportunity, whether it's a family, the family to say goodbye or whatever, right? Like that's probably, where I feel like I made the most impact was I've been extremely lucky. I've had awesome crews. I've worked with some really solid firefighters. But having the opportunity to be that directly involved with pulling somebody out.
So, and I feel like you, Captain Boone,
Cap Melvin,
y'all used to walk around. I mean, y'all had the ribbons and medals. Yeah. It used to be a running joke. Yeah. There was like, y'all nominating each other. Everybody nominating each other. Y'all, there's no way they're in there. This is political. They out here nominating each other. So, but no, you guys were really putting in work. And sometimes, like I said, within the fire department, it comes full circle because I had an incident where we had a call, and somehow it seems like no matter where Captain Melvin's at, his truck always. It's another joke, another controversial joke.
Hashtag never last. Hashtag never last.
Captain Melvin, he plays with polygons.
Yeah.
And he moves the truck.
What you talking about?
He made sure his trucks get there. We used to say Captain Melvin he would have communications on like, speed down me, let me know when something's about to go down. Because he showed up, like we were first on scene, this is 7's primary, but one of the patients that we had, he showed up, and it was actually a patient that he pulled out of fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And not only he rode in the hospital with us.
That's not the one he threw back in, then pulled him out to make it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Allegedly. That
never happened. That never happened. But no, it was just. But I was like, he was like, yo, I believe that kid is a kid that I pulled out of fire.
Right.
And the kid himself had burned. He had burned, so that's how he knew. Right. And then he went on to confirm that was the kid. So, but it's just crazy how like one incident, and this is a pretty serious incident itself, where this kid was hurt, and it's just crazy how things come full circle. Yeah. Now,
on technical rescue side, like we had a rescue when they were building the new courthouse downtown.
Remember that?
We had an individual who had fell down in a below grade right there in front of 807 South Duke Street that we ended up getting out. They were tangled up in like a vertical ladder at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Squirrel was my driver then on ladder 1, but yeah, like I've been blessed. I've had the opportunities to be involved with some things that, again, a lot of people, you might spend 30 years in a career and never have the opportunity to do, like, again, I listened to the podcast the other day, right? And you talking about going to ConAgra. Like, everybody doesn't have that opportunity. So like.
Yeah, and that situation, we were actually the first company, the DFD units were the first company to go in and remove victims.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, we've been fortunate, but that comes with working in a big city or working for a city like Durham, or, you get the same thing in Charlotte, even in Raleigh, like, because just the population, you run across those type of calls, and that's the advantage of working sometimes for a municipality. Like, you get that experience that you might not get in a rural area.
Right.
Now, with that being said, like, you get the calls, right? And you've seen a lot of things, I'm sure, over your years. I've seen a lot of things over my years. We talked about a lot of good stuff and memories, but someone looking into getting this job, like, just tell them, like, some things they might have to deal with. What is what are some not so bright things in your career that you look back on or just think about that you've had?
I think some of it is, I think if you're coming in this career, and I know we have, like, I'm not as involved as I used to be with the recruits. But, I think, like, some people come in here and think it's going to be like what they see on TV, and it's not, right? Like, we deal with death and destruction every day, like, from one means or another. And like, I mean, like, when you come in here, you've got to have an understanding, like, if you can't deal with that, this is just not the job for you. Like, we're going to deal, when somebody picks up their phone, they're calling us because they're having the worst day in their life, in their mind. To us, you might be, you get some of these calls, and you're like, oh my gosh, not this person again, right? But in their mind, this is the worst day of their life, and having an understanding of, hey, they don't have anybody else to call. They're calling us. Like, we have to mitigate whatever that problem is, whatever that issue is. And you're going to see some things, right? It's going to wreak havoc on your home life. It's going to wreak havoc on your mental health. It's going to wreak havoc on your body. Just the wear and tear of daily stuff. I'm getting closer to the end of my career, and I feel it. Like, I'm not going to do a Gray Holloman. I'm not going to be here 40 years, but I would like to push on at least until I hit my 30 or maybe a little bit after. But just having an understanding that this is not Hollywood. This is not a movie set. That you have to deal with death and destruction on maybe not a daily basis, but in some sense
fairly often.
It's going to be more than you and looking at a dead body on TV is different than looking at, like, this is a human being.
It's the smell.
Who has a family, right? Who has loved ones, people love them. Like, this is somebody that you're going to have to, right? And a lot of times people will say, it's just a body. It's like, yeah, but that might be somebody that's right? That body might be somebody that's kin to me. So we can't go in with that mentality.
I always tell people, for me, it's never the goriness of it, right? It's not the blood, it's not the guts. For me, a lot of times what gets me is what you said, seeing a loved one. Their emotions to it, right? This is someone they love, and now they coming in. This is a kid who's seen their parent, right?
Exactly.
And now, like,
or a parent who's seeing their kid,
right? Like seeing it is bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's not that it's not bad, but then you tie in the sounds with it, the smells, the sounds, and that in itself makes it more difficult to deal with. But we were talking about, like, just being a consummate professional. Like, sometimes, like, we got so good, we just tuck it away. We may not show in our face at the time, but it can play with us. And like you said, you're married, it can play in your relationship. Luckily, your wife is in this job, right? So you have it's a little more understanding for her to understand it, right? And so the home life balance has been pretty good for you, I would imagine.
I mean, it's like everybody's, right? Like, I mean, when we
I love your wife, by the way. Shout out Chief Hamlin.
So we started dating in 2000, and it was like undercover because we didn't want anybody to know. Like, and then, like, probably late 2000, like, people started picking up on it, and then we ended up getting married in 01. But yeah, like, I mean, I could go home and bounce stuff off of her. She can bounce stuff off of me. We're dealing with, when she was on shift, we're dealing with the same thing. We may not be seeing exactly what the other one's seeing because she's a female in the fire service, right? And
It's very different.
They have to deal with a whole lot of other things that as a male, and even a white male, right, that doesn't have to, I don't have to think about, right? Like you as a black man.
It's going to be different from you. Yeah, my perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing with females, right? But like, so she sees things and would see things differently than I would. But yeah, so we had that ability to shuffle stuff back and forth. I mean, we've been married 24 years in August, so like in 2 months. But yeah, so I mean, you know, everything ain't glory. I mean, you know that. This is what I will say though, Tim. Like you're talking about, like when I was a young guy, things didn't bother me, right? You're 21, 22, 23, like we live forever. Yeah. We can do stupid things. And then the older you get, and I think you get a family, right? You get kids, like your perspective changes and you're like, hold on a second now, right? Like, how am I going to provide for these if something happens to me? Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or like you look at things differently.
I definitely look back at some calls and some situations that I was in. I was like, I would definitely not do that now. Like, it was something totally different. You know, different approach.
Everybody out there, no matter who they are, right? Everybody out there has somebody that at one time loves them or loved them, right? They have a family. Like we just don't appear on this earth, right? Yeah. So we got here somehow. So like you've got to treat everybody we come into contact with as a person, right? Person first and foremost, right? Yeah. As a human, and then we try to mitigate their issues.
And that's what I think. I'll never forget. We was at a meeting post incident, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but the battalion chief at the time was not happy with how the stuff got, the belongings of the person, right? Yeah. They're like, look, I don't care if it's a shack or if it's a mansion. You're gonna treat everybody's stuff the same. Yeah. Like overhaul is overhaul. Yeah. You know, salvage is salvage. Like this person in $1 million house probably has money to replace what they're losing,
absolutely.
Right?
They got
outside
insurance.
Of pictures and stuff, right? Yeah. But this person over here,
they ain't got nothing.
They don't have. This is all they have. Yeah.
And that's why I love.
If anything, you should be more attentive to this.
That's why I love working where I work for that very reason, right? Because the people that we're more likely to serve, like especially when I was, when I was on Ladder 1 downtown, like, again, the demographics has changed a lot just throughout the city, right? But like you said, like a lot of the people that we're like, hey man, let's get salvage covers. They got really nice stuff. Like they've got insurance to cover all that stuff. The people that I like dealing with is the people who are less fortunate, right? Because that is all they've got. They don't have anything else, right? Yeah. You're like, oh man, their mattress is on the floor. Well, that's the only thing they got. They got a mattress. They ain't got no pictures. Like a lot of these people don't have pictures, right? So it's like whatever they got is theirs, and that is theirs.
And sometimes you see the joy. You walk them in the house because after the fire, and they're just like their stuff is covered up, and they're able to get some, whether it's a photo album, it's just it'd be the little things at times, right? So I think that has also bring me just sometimes more than just the fire, just being able to see that the relief on their face, or just see, hey, like everything's gonna be okay, or being able to console them, like we're somewhat of counselors in the moment, right?
Right.
Because again, we got to manage these feelings at the moment and just be like, hey, the most important thing is you. You were able to get out, right?
Yeah.
That smoke detector saved your life, right?
Yeah, we had a lady in a car the other day, same thing. Like she was just completely upset about her car, and this car side resting. I'm in the car talking to her, and I'm like, man, like the biggest thing is you're okay, right? You're safe, you're fine. Like we're going to get you out of here. Like the car can be replaced. And she said, I just got this thing paid off. And I was like, okay, but that's why you got insurance. It's like you're okay, and that's the big picture. And after, like you said, like thinking as a counselor, like I'm a horrible counselor, but being able to console somebody in their time, to try to talk them down off that ledge of saying, and we do really good with everybody. We don't do so good with ourselves. Yeah. But hey, so I got one story. I want to tell a story. This is a Gray Holloman story, right?
All right.
So I always tell everybody, I was like, great. So when I got on the fire department, Gray was a driver. Like it's gonna be crazy. So when I got on the fire department, Gray was a driver. He was a driver on Ladder 1. When I got on, I think it wasn't my first fire, because my first fire was on engine 1. But at some point, because we rode all throughout the house, we didn't get the opportunity to ride on the rescue as a rookie. I didn't. But one of my other fires I got to go to. Gray was driving me, and I remember riding in the back of that ladder truck, and it was a fairly new ladder truck. It was a '96, so like, and it was enclosed cab. Like ladder 2, ladder 11 were both open cabs. Ladder 12 was the Grumman. It was a closed cab, but ladder 1 was the main closed cab Suffin. And I'm riding down the road, and Gray's driving, and I'm like, man, this is the life, right? Like this is the life. And here this man is. He's still driving one of the busiest ladder trucks in the city. I've been here a little over 28 years. You know, March was 28, so whatever that's been, 28 years and 3 months. But like, he's still driving a ladder truck, and he's still driving the busy ladder truck in the city, right? Like one of the busiest ladder trucks that goes to a bunch of fires. Like we had a fire yesterday, and you know, like I always love showing up and you see Gray, and like we're coming down the hill. It was in 3's district, and they were first there. Good duplex fire, and like he's already got a ground ladder thrown up for us to go to the roof. He's swinging the aerial around, and you know, and like I love it, and I hate he's getting ready to retire.
He still has passion for it.
Yeah, like he loves the fire department. I mean, you wouldn't be here as long as he's been here, 38 years, I think. Like you wouldn't be here that long if you didn't love it.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I mean, at some point you got to say, hey, family life is the most important. But yeah, like Gray was a driver when I got on the fire department, and over 28 years later, he's still driving the busiest ladder truck in the city.
So Gray was assigned to Station 2 when I first came out, and again, policies have changed since.
Oh yeah.
But when I first time seeing Gray, he had something rolled up in his sleeves.
Yeah.
Had a nice little pack rolled up in his sleeves. I was like, man, this man is
new wave.
This man is the man.
That was his
Very
name.
cool.
Yeah.
And so I had one of my biggest compliments as a newer firefighter. I was Station 7. I was telling this story to Captain Boone the other day, like just a big fire on Dearborn Drive, and that fire, like my new helmet. Matter of fact, this one right here.
Oh yeah.
This helmet looked like that off that one fire, pretty much. Right, it destroyed it.
Yeah.
And I had a shield on it, and I was time trading, and we had another fire with Gray, and Gray looked at me. He said, "Get salty lid," and he said the typical Gray comic after that I can't say, but he said, "Look, basically it looks good," and I was like, yes. He don't know. It just came from one fire. You would have thought fought fire for 15 years with that helmet, but it was just. That fire was really bad and just ended up getting melted.
I'm glad y'all are bringing Gray up. He's our next guest we're having.
Awesome.
We're interviewing him next week, so we'll have to ask him about this.
Yeah. Like I said, he's been around a long time, and he like I said, when I got on, like I remember. So we had a fire, and this was the other kind of funny thing when you look back on it now. So I was on ladder 1 for the day. At the time, Gray drove for. Captain Nemo was his nickname, but Captain Crabtree was his real name. But everybody called him Captain Nemo. Bow-legged, big belly, like he was an old salty captain. Like
where do these names come from?
Like you were talking. Gray could probably tell you because I don't remember. But like at Station 1, so you had Captain Nemo, and then you had Chuck Staples. They cooked supper every day, and Gray would help some. But they cook supper every day. Like now, everybody rotates through because nobody really wants to cook, right? Everybody's got busy days. So, like, you know, at Station 1, the rescue will cook, the squad will cook, the engine will cook. And we just rotate through the cycle. Well, back then, like, these guys cooked every day. And, like, I just remember Captain Nemo sitting in the kitchen, and he was bow-legged, and he'd have his hands up on his hip, and he's like, hey, Bo, I don't know if that's right. Like, talking to Gray with his old belly stuck out. We had a fire. Jeff Roberts. It had to be like 98. No, 97. Not long after I come out. Jeff Roberts was doing a ride-along with us that day. Like, he hadn't got hired at the fire department yet, yeah. So Chief Roberts was doing a ride-along with us. So we go down off of Linwood. He come in off of Linwood. So we're going over there. 4 gets there, and they're like, hey, we got nothing showing. Looks like a small mat on the front porch burning. So, you know, I'm 21 years old. I just think my stuff don't stink, and I'm like, this is BS, you know, and I'm taking my stuff off. And we're about halfway there. Like, we're still going to go through about halfway there, and like, you just hear screaming on the radio. And what had happened was they didn't realize there was an actual fire going on in the house. It had kind of snuffed itself out. The rescue, Captain Modell went up, popped out the front plate glass window. There's the old, you know how the old houses in Fort had the big metal overhang awning. We popped that window out like a fireball rolled out on the porch, burnt Cap Modell's both his hands. 4 was pushing in, so it was Brad Grissom and Captain Sherrill was on engine 4, and they were pushing in. Well, we had just put the E1 engines in service, and there was a little hiccup. Whereas if you didn't have the throttle all the way in, you put it in pump gear, it would not throttle up. So he put it in pump gear. Billy Williams was the driver. He'd put it in pump gear, but it would never throttle up. Well, 4 is in there when all this goes down. Like 4 is making a push. The rescue does horizontal ventilation, and like the whole room, the whole house flashes. And so Brad Grissom ends up burning his gear up. Engine 1 pulls up. They end up having to stretch a line off their truck. So we're rolling up on ladder 1, and they're like, "Hey, we need a hole." So me and Gray go over there. You know, Gray, I'm a newer guy, and you know, Gray's always the trigger man. He's always gonna run the saw. He was gonna run the tools. Like that was his thing. So we get up on the roof, and I remember Captain Nemo. I don't even think he put an air pack on. He said, "Hey, Bo, I got the ladder." So he would butt the ladder. We climbed up on the roof. Me and Gray, we go over there and we take out a couple windows. We end up cutting a hole, and like that's one of those memories that I have that I'll cherish forever. Is like we were cutting a hole, and like I was trying to be Billy bad, you know.
Yeah.
Up there with Gray, like Gray ain't got no mask on. I'm like, Gray ain't got a mask on. I'm not wearing a mask. And Gray's up there cutting a hole, and the smoke changes, blows in our face, and I'm like, I can't breathe.
Oh,
you know,
man.
so I duck over and I'm putting my mask on. I'm looking at Gray, and he's cutting, and I'm like, I don't even know how this man's doing that. And then he turns around and he's like, I got to put my mask on. So he puts his mask on.
Hey,
we end up cutting the hole. We look, and Captain Nemo's, he's standing on the edge of the ladder just looking over the ridge. And he's like, y'all boys all right? We're like, yeah, Captain, we're good. Like, it's just like the old school stuff. And I don't miss it, right? I mean, because there's a lot of stuff we did that was stupid back then. But I'm glad I got on. I wish I'd have got on, like, in 94 with Captain Melvin and them, just because again the way things were done was a whole lot different. Yeah. But yeah, Gray's been a huge influence in my career. I mean, there's too many people for me to mention, but yeah.
So we'll you know we're gonna get out of here in a second, but we can't leave without talking about the rescue truck.
Okay.
Rescue truck comes back, right?
Yeah. The heavy rescue. So we've always had a rescue, right? And Captain Boone probably told y'all the definite date because I don't remember. I want to say it was so it started right in the 40s when civil service was in, but I think it was technically a rescue company maybe in the 60s.
Okay.
Maybe, and I'm probably got these numbers wrong. And we had a rescue company up until 2000, May or June of 2000 when they disbanded it.
It became squads, right?
Yeah. But when the rescue was brought back, we were actually brought back as a true heavy rescue company, which we've never had in the city. We've not had a true heavy rescue.
How did you feel? Because I know for years you wanted it back. I mean,
oh yeah.
How did it feel for it to finally? Because Chief Courier had it was the utility trucks. They were gonna be called utility trucks.
Yeah.
But it never really happened. Right. And then. Like now it's coming back. What's your thoughts when it comes back? And then how does it feel now that you're back on the truck? You're about to get a brand new truck. How's the ride been so far?
Man, I mean this is my second longest assignment. Ladder 1 was my longest assignment. Well, I guess technically
this is your longest, right?
November will be my longest.
Right,
It'll be 6 years in November. So this will be my longest assignment anywhere in the city. I mean, we've got the best ride in the city. You know, you were there. Like
we catch a lot of hate.
We do. Catch a lot of hate. And it is what it is, right? We're still really new. When I got on, I was lucky enough to be able to ride the rescue. The last 6 months that it was in service, with Glenn and Cap Modell. With Creedmoor and Cap Modell. And Bruce Jacobs. Bruce Jacobs was up there then. But yeah, I mean. I'm extremely pleased to see where we are currently at as an organization right now with the heavy rescue. Like, there's lots of cities that have rescue companies, but not everybody's running a true heavy rescue. Like Charlotte, they're running a heavy rescue, but man, they've got air. Like, we don't have no cascade system. We don't have all that stuff. Like, our truck is dedicated to our service.
Yeah, I think their driver has to stay out and fill.
Technically, I don't think those guys do that, but that's how they're riding 5 every day too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. The only thing I would always ask for, right, and I have, there's no bones about it. I wish we had 4-person staffing mandatory every day for us because right,
yeah,
the amount of stuff that a rescue company can accomplish and the amount of equipment we're responsible for is way more than any other truck. With this section, maybe hazmat. Like hazmat's got a lot of stuff too, but like they're 5 people. They're four to 5 people every day because you got 3 on 13, 3 to 4 on 13, depending on if there's a rookie there or not, and then you got one dedicated to the hazmat truck.
Yeah, I may be biased, but I feel like
I am biased. I'm not gonna.
I feel like the rescue in itself, like you said, it's a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
It's a lot that we are asked to do. It's a lot of heavy equipment. Like equipment's not light.
That's why we call it heavy, baby.
It's not light.
That's why we call it heavy.
And I feel like because you'll get people, engine guys, chirp like we didn't have a rescue for so many years. Like why we need it now? And I'm like, listen, like are people like the ladder truck can handle the door pop,
right? And
I've been to several calls where door pop is not just a door pop.
Right.
You think it's a door pop,
and
then it's something more, right? Or maybe you need a little bit more push. Maybe you need to do a B post blowout, whatever the case may be, right? So a lot of times it seems like, hey, it's excessive. Like we don't need a rescue truck, and then the calls be like, you think it's gonna be a door pop, and they're like, oh well, we actually need a little more push on this, or
I think organizationally that's where we have kind of failed. Is that because we didn't have one for so long. I mean, it was 19 years, right? So you look at the amount of people that come in late 2000, from 2000 2019, they never knew the organization with a rescue company. Everybody who's been here before then, they kind of have an understanding, but a lot of those people are gone, right? Like or getting ready to leave. So like we lost 19 years of this is what this truck can do. This is we're not there, and like always would be up Captain Boone and them, right? Cap Modell. Like when I was a young guy, right, the rescue is always trying to steal our nozzle. Like that was the whole east side, west side, right? If the rescue come to the west side and we had a fire, like they were in there trying to take nozzle from you. They were trying to beat you up on the porch and get your nozzle, right?
Yeah, we're definitely not like that.
And like, and that's not, we're not what the persona was. And like we essentially want to be looked at as we're here to help, right? We're
support
here,
unit.
Yeah, we're here. We've got equipment nobody else has. The people that are signed on this company should be the subject matter experts in this stuff, right? Like if you're on the heavy, you should know truck work, you should know engine work, right? You should know extrication, you should know some about all the little specialties you do, whether it's trench, confined space, water, rope, right? Like you've got to know a little bit of everything, and you've got to be able to apply that. Like we're problem solvers, right? If you've got a problem, we're gonna help you figure it out. We don't want to come in and take over. But yeah, like I'm super excited. New truck got here in January. Hopefully it'll be in service next month.
It looks amazing. I'm ready to do some ride-alongs on it.
Yeah. Lots of work. The members all had input. I mean, you were there. And members all had input on it. So it's not like it wasn't one-sided. So yeah, like we've got some new equipment coming in. We've got way more stuff than we've ever had in an organization, right? And we're touting it as we're a 30-minute truck. So this truck can go on scene. We can operate in a 30-minute time period with no help from additional outside resources. So that means that we don't need the trench trailer. Like we had a trench call a month ago, and we were able to mitigate getting the individual out of the trench with just the equipment we had on the rescue. Now the trench trailer showed up and they were bringing stuff to set, but like we were able to mitigate that call in 15, 20 minutes once we got on scene. And there's not another truck that can do that, right?
I remember you pushing that when I was assigned there. And like I said, the rescue has had a lot of notable calls. It had couple crane rescues. B shift was going to work.
B shift was Captain Pearson and them. They were like they had like 2 back to back.
A couple trench calls.
I was straight jealous about it.
Couple trench calls, water rescues. Like there's been notable calls. The truck's been used. I will say that. Like and outside of that,
nobody wants us until they need us, right? Like that's the thing. is everybody hates us until you're like, oh, now what are we gonna do? Hey,
And
where's
then,
the rescue?
and even the small things that you don't think about, the elevators. Like we've changed the way that we operate on elevators safely, right? Like we do it now. And
again, I grew up in the old school mentality, and that's what we were doing and teaching for a long time. And like, you go out and you go to other places and you go to other classes and you talk to subject matter experts in these fields, and you're like, whoa, what we're doing is not safe for our people, and they're not safe for the people that we're interacting with on a daily basis.
Now I see I seen the other day, I read in the budget meeting, matter of fact, yesterday, the Rescue 2 has got approved, right? The funding for it. Which we're probably 3-4 years before that actually comes in.
I think they said in command staff meeting like 29.
Okay, so I imagine they will split the city.
I assume, I have no. That's 2029. Like, but, I mean, who knows? My assumption is yes. I know talking Captain Melvin, because again, Captain Melvin has a lot of insight. He does the polygons. He does the run maps. He's got the information. I think like we're looking at the south side. So when you were there, like our hardest part to get to in the city is I-40. Like if we've got to go to I-40, that's our longest response times. So if we had one on the south side, it would lessen the response times for a specialty unit down there. But I don't know. But so
too
far out for me to think about. I may be retired by then.
I'll see. But so again, the fires. You guys go to all the fires in the city, fire extrications, all the specialty stuff. I know that the new rescue truck has come, and you've been very pivotal. I think overall, the department, like I said, we've always been great. The department always had a good reputation. But I think our tactically and just like how like our units are set up now, like the ladder trucks are like we're really very unit focused. Making sure everybody knows what they need to do on your basic run of the mill house, bread and butter. No one really needs to be told anything because we know how it works, right? You guys know what we know. What's either ladder's gonna have search or the rescue gonna have search. Same thing, right? Now, I think again, just credit to you. I think you being one of the leaders in the department have been very pivotal. Captain Melvin, there's been a lot of people I can't name, but I do want to take time to say thank you for the hard work you've done, and being one of those people that been standing up for the members, because outside of fire stuff, there's been stuff outside of that that you stood up for. Now, we're at the part of the show where I do want to give you a chance to ask the next guest a question, but Captain Boone had a question for you. Patrick, do you remember what Captain Boone's question was? Because I
do. I've got it right here. Actually,
I was hoping I was gonna have Chief Z's question, because I've seen that podcast. Like,
this is a good one. This is a good one. He asked. He wants to know what job, if you couldn't have been a firefighter, what job would you have wanted to do?
This is my downfall. I don't think there is any other job. And like looking back on my career, those are some of the things that even me and Tina have talked about. Like if I get injured, if I had got injured at 15 years or 10 years in, like what am I going to do? I don't have an education, right? My education background was in fire. Like I honestly don't know. I don't know what I'd have done. Probably like realistically, what I was going to go to school for was farming. I was going to go do a ag thing. And probably try to do that, but it wasn't something I really want to do full time. So,
I'm the same way. This is all I've known. I started when I straight out of high school, came here.
Yeah, I remember when you got.
I don't know what I would do.
Baby boy McCoy.
Baby boy
McCoy. Ain't no allegedly. I want to tell you how you got that name.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead. Tell the story.
So the first time I met Tim. He always walked around. What kind of is like a pacifier blow pop?
Hold on. See, now the stories. The stories exaggerated. Hold on.
What was the little pacifier?
I had the one time I came to Redwood, I had it was one of those blinky pacifiers that I got from the State Fair. I had just came from State Fair. And ever since then, I have not lived that down. Oh, my God.
Baby boy McCoy.
The pacifier is now, I had a stupid pacifier thing. Well, you didn't know, I'm in the same predicament. Like, outside of fire department, I don't know what I do. And like you, I talked to my wife, and I'm like, she's like, you got to have something to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually I took my inspector thing and then realized that's not for me.
Right.
So I never did anything with it. But But I know a lot of people, and we don't talk about it, but I know a lot of people outside of, like, when you get slower in your career, like, not everybody's going to be your great Holloman's, right?
Yeah.
So, but the one thing Durham Fire Department does have is we have options. So you do have training staff you can be on.
Yep.
We have a public education team. You have your inspections you can do. And then now, you know, we're all those departments are growing, right?
Yeah.
So there are avenues within the fire department if you get battered where you can't be in a truck.
Right.
And our department does a great job at trying to support our people.
They've done a tremendous job lately. We didn't.
That was always that way. You're right.
We didn't used to do a good job taking care of our people, and we have done a great job here, you know, in the last 5-8 years.
I will let you answer Chief Z question because his question was, what was your current self tell your younger self when you first got into fire service? What's some advice you would give yourself?
So like I've really thought about this. More humility, right? Well, it's two. So it's two things. Humility is one. Like, humility carries great things. As a 21-year-old, right, with a little bit of volunteer background, you know, you're thinking you're running with the big dogs. You're not, right? Like, come in with some humility. Understand that people are going to teach you things that you probably don't know of, right? Or never saw of, or never thought about. And that kind of leads into my second one and this is one that I like. You think about life and it's like, what would you do over if you ever had the opportunity? It's like, go out and go to classes, right? Like, I didn't do it young in my career because the individuals who were my influences, that wasn't something. I mean, it wasn't a thing that Durham did. We didn't go out to other places. Like, what we did, this is the Durham way. This is the only way we're going to do it. And as an organization, we've made tremendous strides in allowing our members to go out and go to classes away from here. Like, get out, get away. Get away from Durham, you know, whether it's in the state or outside of state. Just go see what other people do. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there is a lot of great information that is out there. Instructor-wise, there's a lot of great instructors that are out there teaching stuff that, like, I didn't even know about. You know, and even now, like Brandon Lee, right? Like, a couple academies ago, I was out here helping him with a class. Like, I was really just kind of standing there. But, like, I picked up so much from him, and he picked it up from somebody else, right? So, like, go out, go to classes, pick up information, learn information, and share that information. Back when I got on, a lot of times the more you knew, you kept it to yourself, because that meant, like, some of our chiefs, you held the power. Oh, I know more than you. I'm more powerful than you. And, like, that's not the way we got to be. We've got to share this information, make sure it's good information, right? Yeah. But, like, get out, train as much as you can train, get away from Durham. Like, there's a lot of great guys here that have a lot of great information, so I'm not taking anything away from them.
But Durham way is not the only way.
Yeah. Go out and see what other people are doing, right? Yeah. You go to a conference, you know, and they're kind of expensive, right? And I travel a bunch now, like, and I really hate, because I'm nearing the end of my career, but, like, I go out, I do a lot of teaching, but I also go to a lot of classes myself, just because I want to see what other people are doing, right? And if it's something worth sharing, I'm going to share it. Just because I've gone to a class one time doesn't make me an expert, right? But I can share whatever information they gave me. I'm not going to go out and try to teach it as mine, but I can share a lot of information. Like, when I first got on a ladder company, like, one of my big influences in the truck company culture was Mike Champo, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lieutenant Champo from UTNY.
Great guy.
Well, like, I first met him in 2005. Me, Captain Boone, Todd Elliott, like, it's my whole crew, Josh and Rap, like, we all went to Charlotte. Charlotte had a weekend class. They had, you know, Champo there. They had Mike Dugan there. They had a lot of big names, like, that come in for the weekend. And that was my first true truck company class I'd ever taken, you know. And there was so much information we gathered. He turned around and come back to Wilson, like, a couple of months later. So I was like, hey, let's go. So we got another group of us, and we went to Wilson and did pretty much the same type class. But just being able to pick that information up, sharing it, and like, I'm not bragging, but I really feel like that was the beginning of our true truck company culture, was these individuals going to this class and then coming back and sharing that information. Like, I really feel like around 2005, 2006, our culture changed from our truck companies being, you know, the fanboys or the hydrant getters to actually doing truck company work.
I agree, but like you said, it's great being humble. That's one thing. I coming from the volunteer background, I was kind of arrogant myself, but also
and I still struggle with it, right? Like, I mean, and if you're saying you don't, like, come on, give me a break. Like, everybody struggles with it. Like, humility can come in many forms, but I feel like even today, like, I'll catch myself, not today, but like, throughout the day, because social media is so present. You're looking on, you're like, oh, I can do that better than they are. I can do that, and then you're like, hold on, shut up, just shut up. Like, you don't know their background. It's a time in 1 second of time of a picture or a video, but yeah, Monday night quarterbacking. It's easy from your seat, but humbleness and then getting out and go to classes. And I will say, that's something that our members are really good at. Like they love going to classes and they love training. Now, one thing that I will mention that's great about the fire department now is, you talk about Mike Campbell. I've never met him in person, but I used to watch his videos all the time on YouTube. And that's one thing that's one great thing about the internet is, like, there's so many Instagram pages, like training pages, where you can just now you have to go out and do the training. You can't just watch the video, but you have so much access to information outside your department now. It's really not hard to find new techniques or see new techniques. But you also need to go out there and see it for yourself and put your hands on it. All the stuff still works too, right? And we got, like, I'm gonna give a plug, right? So Chief Ray, right? Like, Chief Ray has been teaching for a long time. He's teaching on a national level. He is a local guy. Like, he is here in our organization, and up until 8 years ago, 8 years ago, like, we really never even tapped into him as an organization. And now we've tapped into him. He helped create our engine packages, right? With our hose, our nozzles. Like, he was extremely instrumental on that side. And like, he's a local resource here that like, we don't think about it because he's here every day, right? We look at him, we see him, like, we
don't value as much.
Chief Norman, John Norman, right? He come here years ago, and one of the things he said is 50 miles in a suitcase, right? He said, you'll never be a prophet in your own town. 50 miles in a suitcase is the difference from making you just a good old boy to a subject matter expert. And like, that really, if you look at the fire service, like, it's really true. I can pack my bags, I can go out of state and teach a class, and they think it's the best thing ever. But in my own organization, people don't want to listen to what I got to say, right? And I'm not talking about just me, but I'm just saying in general.
No, it makes sense.
Chief Ray run into it for years and years and years, right? Like, he could go to national level, teach at FDIC. Nobody here wanted to listen to what he had to say. And now, like, we're not like that now. And that's one of the great things is, like, now he's very instrumental and influential with our training academy, right? With the new recruits coming through, just like you. I mean, without this stuff right here, how are we going to suck people in? How are we going to bring people to the Durham Fire Department with you and Patrick? Right?
We're just a small part, but I do every time I introduce people to Chief Ray, and I'm like, this is the guy right here. This is a renowned teacher, instructor. One question you have for our next guest.
Oh man, I haven't even thought about this. Because I was thinking about how I was going to answer my question.
It's crazy. Nobody thinks about it though.
I was like, I'm not even thinking about what am I going to ask the next person.
Keep in mind it's Gray.
Yeah,
so what do you want to ask Gray specifically? It's Gray.
I want to say, hey Gray, if you had the opportunity, would you stay 5 more years and drive the rescue truck? No. Cause I think he would. I don't know. I guess my question to Gray, to Gray would be: is if you had to do it all over again, is there anything that you would change?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Well, listen, it was a great conversation.
Absolutely. I appreciate the invite. Thanks to Patrick and yourself.
Patrick, got anything you want to say?
I do. Appreciate everybody listening. Thank you, Captain Hamlin, for coming in and spending so much time with us. Really enjoyed listening to y'all just go back and forth on the rescue stuff. And then for the people listening, if you're listening and you'd rather see our beautiful faces, we're available on YouTube, Durham Fire Department YouTube. If you're watching us and you want to listen to us maybe in the car, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then the social media stuff. You got to follow us, Durham Fire Department on Facebook, Durham City Fire Instagram, and then join Durham DFD on both Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, Tim, take it back to you. You can take us out now.
Captain Hamlin, is a pleasure. Conversation was great. You brought I've learned some things that I didn't know just listening to you talk. So it was a great. Again, thank you for your time. This is Captain Hamlin, the legend, the rescue guru. Hey, it's all right. That's that humble thing. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, anything that you want, any questions you want to ask, please comment, subscribe, like, and again, you watch Bull City Bravest. Until the next time, I holla.